Here's something really cool that the Checkbin paradigm enables. So I'm going to demonstrate this in the context of an AI interior design app. Now, the purpose of the app is to take an input image and a prompt, and then redesign that image in the style of the prompt. To do this, there's 3 different steps. The first thing we do is we take that image and we segment it. So we try to find the furniture. The next thing is you take that and you inpaint within the areas where the furniture was to try to create an empty room. Finally, you take that empty room and you inpaint once again, this time passing in the prompt to try to redesign that room in the style of the prompt. Let's say I want to iterate on this pipeline. Maybe we want to try a different generation model for generating the new furniture instead of what we currently have. One of the great things about Checkbin is that as we went through this pipeline the first time, we saved down all the relevant state. So at this clean stage, we actually have the cleaned room and everything else that you need to pass into this generation model. This means that if you only want to work on this stage, you don't have to recompute all 3 stages for each input example. Instead, you can restart the program just from this stage and only worry about the generation step. That might not be such a big deal if you only have a few stages or a few examples, but when you're working on a multi-stage pipeline with hundreds of examples and really expensive computational intermediate steps, this can end up being a really big deal. So let's see how this works in code. The first thing I'm going to need to do is create a set from these check-ins. So I can select a few of these and add them to a set. I've already done that, so I don't need to do this now. You can see that I have a set up here, which is at the clean checkpoint and has 5 check-ins within it. This gives me a set ID that I can pull into my code. Let's copy that. Jumping back into my code, you can see that previously I was starting this run with an inputs file, which had all the inputs for my pipeline. Instead, what I can do is pass in that set ID. I'll still get a list of Checkbin objects, which are the main abstraction that we use to store state as a program executes. I can then pass that into my run test function, and I'll show you how I can change this. In the run test function, previously we ran through all 3 stages of our pipeline. So we read in the inputs from our Checkbin, in this case the URL and the prompt, then we pass it through the segmentation stage, then we pass it through removing furniture, and then we pass it through the final generation. This time we're starting already from the clean room, so our Checkbin objects have the results from the last time we ran the pipeline. This means we can basically comment out all of this and just not run the first and second step. Instead, what we can do is read in the relevant state from our Checkbin. So in this case, we have that clean room from the last time we ran this pipeline. You can also get the input data, so you can get the prompt from the last time we ran the pipeline. You can then pass this into the final generative model. So instead of having to rerun everything, you only have to run the step that you're trying to test. I'm going to go ahead and run this and we can take a look at the results. That just finished, and here are the results. Because we started that from an intermediate state, our new run still has access to all those old check-ins from the prior run. You can still see all the state that we ran our computations on top of. You can also now see our new generated state. So this started from these clean rooms and then generated on top of it. In the case that you change something in your pipeline, you can actually add the old run ID. This will let you add columns from prior runs. In this case, if we wanted to compare the generated image from a prior run, we could actually pull that up and look at the 2 side by side. Now, I didn't change anything in the examples, so they're going to look pretty similar. But in your case, if you're testing something, this is a very easy way to see if your change made an improvement. This process of restarting the run from an intermediate state can save you lots of time and money in your development cycles, particularly when you are using the large, expensive models or have many steps in your pipeline. The code for this demo is on our GitHub, so feel free to head over there if you want to play with it yourself. Also, don't hesitate to reach out if you want to talk about integrating Checkbin into your own AI pipeline. Thanks.